All right, today I'm hanging out with Steve Erickson, co-founder of Event Raptor. And Steve has this rare mix that I really like. He spent years as a CTO behind a large, I would say, 8-figure coaching events platform with thousands of attendees. Then he went and built the platform that he's proud of now, Event Raptor, and he's even gone and created his own summit. So together with Jen, if it's okay that I mention Jen, he also runs Event Raptor with his co-founder Jen, which powers virtual summits, speaker networks, and this whole visibility ecosystem for coaches, speakers, course creators, mentors, right? Large and small scale. So if you've ever wondered how people turn speaking into an actual client engine and not just random appearances, this would be the guide to learn from. So we're going to talk about what has changed in virtual events since 2020, how visibility really works in 2025 going into 2026, and how to think about speaking and summits as a system or systems, not just as a one-off event or stunt. So today, very excited. Steve, thank you for coming over today.
Thank you for having me here, Phil. I'm really excited to speak to you today.
Beautiful, beautiful. So let me kind of like the first thing that comes to mind is that the whole world has changed quite a bit in, say, the past 15 years, right? Uh, 2010, right? The cult, I got my master's degree around 2010, 2015. And we could not imagine going to school online, really not doing it well, right? Or doing events in mass scale online as a common practice. Then COVID hit, and everybody learned how great it was to never leave the house or to go on vacation your whole life. But now, like, we have 2026 around the corner, and we have more technology we've ever had, more access to the whole world, and we've had a huge evolution of in-person events to online presence. So what are your thoughts on kind of just like the big changes you've seen between 2020 and what's coming up next year?
Well, first of all, I think even stepping a little bit back before 2020, because 2020 was really a seismic shift in the whole industry. As you mentioned, I worked with a company, an 8-figure coaching company, and we did in-person events. And when we did in-person events, we would, do in well into the 7 figures in sales every time we did it. But there was a feeling within the company that, if we went to virtual, we could cannibalize the sale a little bit. It wouldn't be as effective. So there was internal resistance. And then we were forced to go virtual in 2020. And the first time they went virtual in 2020, they nearly doubled the turnover. They nearly doubled the revenue that they had. They doubled the number of attendees. Now, of course, a little bit at the time, people were desperate to get out, and being virtual was the only way to get out. So we probably saw better results in 2020. But really, that seismic shift, a lot of people realize there's a lot of money to be made when you are virtual. And the cost, of course, is much, much lower. When we had 1,300 people in a hotel somewhere in Los Angeles or in Dallas or in Washington, D.C., where we used to go, we had 50 staff members who would descend on a hotel for a week, and all of the cost with the rooms that we had to pay and attendees and everything, there were a lot of costs involved. And with a virtual event, most of those costs just disappear. So what we saw, I think, in 2020 was a really big leveling of the field. You didn't need to have a lot of resources anymore. You could do it really with a very low budget and be very successful. And the main shift now between 2020 and what we're seeing now in 2025, 2026 is really that it's more difficult to get people to turn up to events now in 2025, 2026. So you have to be better at explaining what the benefit is of them turning up to the event. A lot of people are tired of going to events where they're wasting time. So what we hear from and what we see is that if you are like everybody else, then getting people to turn up is difficult. But if you are crystal clear on your communication, if you really understand your target audience, if you can communicate the benefit and the transformation they will have coming to your virtual event, then the show up rates are going to be as before, and you're going to be making the same sales as you did before. Now, here's the challenge as well with 2026, of course, coming up is AI. AI has taken a tremendous leap forward. Not, if you're looking at the past 2 or 3 years, of course, we've come a huge way. But even in the last like 3 months, I can see there's a big shift in how effective AI is already becoming, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in 2026. So the people who will be successful, I think, in 2026 are the ones who are going to be able to use AI effectively, not let AI take over, not let AI decide everything, not let AI write everything, but who's able to say to the AI, this is me, this is my voice, this is how I'm authentic, right? And then let AI be an assistant in that process, right? And just help you get things out.
Yeah, I think, 2025, people are already tired of AI taking over the show. It's like, you can see where, like, okay, this is not Steve or Phil, right? I know Steve or Phil, right? He just let his AI run over. He's not even paying attention to what he wrote anymore or what his avatar is saying. So, yeah, I think you're definitely in that direction. It's gonna become more of a, not of a as a mini me, but more of like an integration or like an internal assistant.
Yeah, I look at it as being a fantastic assistant who really gets me and can assist me with what I need to do and what I need to communicate. But it's still an assistant where I have to take control over that last bit of publishing the content and that I mean the proofreading, the making sure that it's actually what I want to convey in the way I want to convey it.
Yeah, it's gonna be that's gonna be a big deal. Um, I'm but then again, at some point it's gonna make it so easy, like, I forgot about this when I was 10 years ago. I forgot that I had this story. And it's gonna be like, hey, there it is, right? So it's gonna in some way be maybe better than our own memories as time goes by, which is kind of freaking me out a little bit, but also very exciting.
Yeah.
So do you have any fears of AI in 2026? Is there like, any anything that is kind of like, no, I wish you would slow down, or are you kind of like in the boat of like, I like where it is, or it needs to hurry up because this is so fun?
I think it needs to hurry up because this is so fun. The biggest challenge with AI right now is the impact it will have on so many different professions. 4 weeks ago, you could try to make graphics with AI and put writing on it, and it was like, yeah, hit and miss kind of thing. And now suddenly, Banana Nano Pro or whatever, Nano Banana Pro has come out, and you're going like, holy moly, how good it is. It produces a lot of writing. There's maybe 2 or 3 characters in there that needs to be corrected, and the next version I'm sure is going to eliminate it. So what about our graphics designers? You mentioned Jenny is my co-founder, my wife of 32 years now, or nearly 33 years.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you. She is, I will still say, is a voiceover artist, and she made a full income being a voiceover artist, doing apps and doing a lot of e-learning systems. And she would be. There's a big supermarket chain in the UK where they had a whole process they put people through to do with alcohol licensing and checking everything was doing it. And she voiced all of the training material. It's disappeared, right? It's absolutely disappeared because now 11 labs and other systems are generating it. So you don't need to have a voiceover artist anymore. Now I see the graphics artist is going to go the same way. So that is my fear with AI. And at the same time, you can't hold progress back. Mobile phones was a big shift in everything we did. Computers was a big shift in everything we did. And the good thing is, all of these new technologies so far have created new fields of work, new types of employees, new things that they're doing. So the question is only if you're affected by AI, how are you going to adjust? to the future. What are you going to do in the new future with AI is there and taking over what you used to do?
Yeah, I think it's more like not if it's going to, but when it affects you, right? What are you going to do then? Are you going to be a person that's freed, right? Are you now able to be more of yourself than you ever before, and you can express yourself better, and you can create more content that you wouldn't have to rely on other people to, and you can create this pretty good, maybe not like Coca-Cola commercials, right? But maybe something like way better than you can ever afford uh, throughout history to make something that just at least gets your concept apart out there. Very obviously, your tagline, your tagline on LinkedIn, I love it. If I could share it, it's visibility is. Oh, hold on, Discord. Your visibility is your responsibility,
Absolutely.
right? And this is fun. What does that mean to you?
So it goes back to part of my story. I after working with the life coaching company, I handed in my notice in 2020. I started becoming a coach myself, and I knew that in order to be successful, I needed to be on stage. I had learned that by working with that company for 6 years. We did, as mentioned, these events where we did millions of dollars in turnover, and the first virtual event we did in 2020, where we did close to $10 million in turnover, it was very significant. And so I knew I had to be on stage. I knew I had to be visible to do that. And the first event we did, I added 600. There was a virtual summit, by the way, so I didn't have to be on stage myself. I'm very, very introverted, and I had went on stage, introduced somebody, said, "Hey, this is this person." Then turned off the camera, sweat patches under my arms, like in 45 minutes, it's going to be finished, and I have to be on camera again, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, I get the impression in your I don't wanna say in your family, but in your senior management team of co-founders, Jenny is kind of the more outgoing voice.
She's the introverted extrovert. She is the one who's the life and soul of the party, and then when the party's over, she will switch off and be a total introvert. I'm the shy introvert. I'm the one who goes like, "Oh, there's a party here," and I'll go into the corner and sit and wait for somebody to approach me. So, so definitely. But we got through the two first summits, and then we launched the Event Raptor system. And I can go into more about that later, but this is about the visibility portion. And in July of 21, I started coughing, and I had problems being on stage. I had problems speaking to people because I would literally go for 30 seconds, and then I would cough for like a minute before I was able to speak for 30 seconds. And I'm not exaggerating here with the 30 seconds. Then I was diagnosed with a double pulmonary embolism, blood clots in both of my lungs. And that took several weeks to develop. It's something that normally takes like hours to develop, but for me, it took several weeks to do. I got into hospital. The doctor said you were hours away from passing, and we're going to give you a strong cocktail of drugs. And in like 2 to 4 weeks, you're going to be right as rain. I went through that. I came out on the other end, and when I then was sitting down to have meetings, I was exhausted. I could sit and have a meeting for 15 minutes. I didn't cough anymore, but I was totally exhausted. So after 15 minutes, it was like, okay, I'm sitting here like heavier breath and I'm feeling very tired, and I just had to finish meetings. Again, I was invisible. And what happened with our income, our sales, it was completely flat. We had a month where we did $60,000 in, I think that was about July of 21. And then September, October, November, December, we were doing like between $0 and about $2,000 in sales the whole period. And then it turned out I had blood clots in my, not blood clots, sorry. Yeah, I can't even remember what it's called. When your blood vessels, your arteries are constricted. So one of them was 95% constricted and the other 98. So in January,
And this was in your lungs or in your body?
in my heart. So so I had stents inserted in my, or rather in the artery into my heart, and that cleared it up. So I was able to have the blood flow that I was supposed to have, and that's when I got my strength back. And then we did a summit in February of 2022. So this was literally the month after I had my stent inserted. And we did $25,000 worth of sales.
Fast recovery, bravo.
Right. Yeah. So that was it. It was very rapid recovery, and that was only because I was visible. So the whole point here is that visibility is your responsibility, because when you are invisible, you do not make sales. When you are visible and you're out there and you talk about what you do, you talk about the offers that you have, you are able to spread a word, then that's when you can get business. Of course, there's a lot of things that go into that as well, in terms of is it the right offer to the right audience and the right messaging at the right time, etc. But if you are visible, you can't make sales, even if you have the best mousetrap in the world. That's the way it is.
All right. And I agree with you. Just a lot of my founders, it's it gets to like, okay, we're like a month to 3 months away from going live now. We are finishing wrapping up. This is a great time to start sharing your story,
Mm.
right? So you can get ready to launch your product. You can start building, a waiting list. You can, start building interest, right? You put a lot of work into it. There's already some bars to entry. So you figured that out. So you probably don't have to be super scared, or if you are, start preparing so you can do that. And then it's like, okay, cool. Well, how do I do that? I'm like, well, maybe YouTube channel, maybe your LinkedIn channel, start putting some posts up there, start drawing, seeing who's interested, start talking to neighbors and to people around you.